Hey everybody, MntDewMania here, and welcome back to Season 2 of Redneck Rants. Oh yeah, baby, I am on Vox Populi, and I am out in the bay, sorta kinda, looking in on the city. There's a big hotel. Checking out this thing right here. This is a new build. I don't remember this being here. That's it's kinda weird, isn't it? But I thought I'd do a little night fishing out here on the boat. And yeah, it's I from over there I just assumed this would be bigger. Guess not. Oh well. How you guys doing? I'm doing Peach Keen, and if you haven't guessed already, it is time to start all over again with a big bad A. Stands for assuming. Oh my, we all do that, don't we? One time or another we've done it. Definition of assuming is taking too much for granted. Presumptuous. To take for granted or without proof. We've all done it. I've done it. Do it again. It's just one of those quirky human things that we do. We see something and we automatically, because of other things we have seen, we assume the same thing about this thing. We hear something because of what other things or life experiences, we assume certain things are going to happen. That's how we are. Most of the time, you get close, but not always. Assuming is, at best 50-50. You just can't. I mean, you know the old saying, right? Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. Assume. Yeah, it does. Because, I mean, and some people do it blindly. I mean, it's one thing to, assume that tonight for dinner you're going to have blah blah blah. And all of a sudden for whatever reason you don't have, steak and eggs, and you're like, "Oh man, I thought we were going to have steak and eggs." So, the most important, I mean, the worst thing that happens is you don't have steak and eggs. But sometimes, I mean, it can be about a touchy subject, and come on, folks. I mean, with the way the world is right now, you can make assumptions that can lead to death. I mean, let me give you a perfect example. Um, Seeing a man praying to Allah is enough for some people to assume that he is a terrorist. I mean, that is just, I mean, come on. That's like assuming that all Japanese speak Japanese. That's like assuming that everyone that is African American is in a gang. I mean, that's like assuming that all American Indians can't hold their liquor. You know what I'm saying? It's just we get these assumptions in our heads about certain things, and you take it for the gospel truth in every single situation without even finding out anything new. You just assume because you've had one experience in your life or you've read one thing in a newspaper that is just absolutely the dead truth, and you assume it's like that with everything. You know? Um, it's just, I mean, and we all do it. We all do it to a certain degree, probably every day of our lives. And so most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. You know? Um, and another thing, I mean, it's, I don't know, it's, you just, William Sapphire said, never assume the obvious is true. And I think a lot of people do that. They go that extra step with the assuming. And if you see it, well, it's got to be true. Come on, how many times have you heard that thing? Well, I saw it on the internet. It's got to be true. you know, I saw it in print. It's got to be true. You know, somebody in my church said so and so, so it's got to be true. Why? Because they wear a suit, a tie. What makes it have to be true? You know, don't assume. I mean, my daddy had this saying about uh how you always say you don't believe it till you see it, right? My daddy even went a step further than that, and he pretty much said, don't believe, half what you read, half what you see, and nothing that you hear. I mean, it's pretty true. Sometimes you need, and even when, sometimes you need to see it for yourself, but sometimes then you still need to question. Because you might not be seeing the whole picture. You know, it's just like, not too long ago, Generic B had a question and answer thing on his channel. And one of his questions was, somebody asked him, was he an extrovert or an introvert? And if you watch his videos, he's pretty quiet and mild-mannered, to my opinion. He's not a loud screamer, he's not a Markiplier, let's put it that way. He has his own brand of comedy, and, and way of doing things, and mannerisms, and speaking, like we all do. But when Lori Helga said, when an introvert is quiet, don't assume he is depressed, or socially deficient or snobbish. We do that, don't we? We see somebody that's really shy and quiet, and you automatically assume they're just unsocial. They don't want to talk to you. Well, maybe they don't have anything to say. Some people are not bubbly, all, lay their life out on Facebook and tweet 5 million times a day, and, that's just not their thing. But you can't assume that they are antisocial just because they don't like to do stuff and share their whole life with everybody online, Another thing, John D. Rockefeller said it is wrong to assume that men of immense wealth are happy. Now, I mean, come on, how many times have you seen a rich movie star on TV, or your favorite rapper, or, and you assume because they have all the money in the world that they are just the most happy-go-lucky person, but I think, how many times have we seen stories just like, of these people that we put on these pedestals, just end tragically, and you would have thought that they were my God, their place in the world just couldn't be any shinier. You would sell your children to be in their place. You would cut off a limb. You'd commit murder just to be in there, close to where they are. And then to come to find out, they're probably some of the most miserable, saddest, loneliest people in the world. But we assume, because we go by our own standards, oh yeah, if I had $1 million, I'd be the happiest person in the world. I wouldn't have to worry about a thing in the world. Really? Ask a millionaire. I have a friend, and her husband, they are millionaires. And I went to her house one day. She was having a dinner party, and I went over early to help her. And of course, her maid was there. So, she had a housekeeper. And she was sitting at her, at her mahogany dining table in the formal dining room, cutting coupons out of the newspaper. And she's like me. She's very just open and honest, and just, says what's on her mind. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she's like, what? I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? I'm cutting coupons. And I just busted out laughing. And she said, all right, go ahead and say it. She goes, I know you want to. And I'm like, girl, you are a millionaire. Why in the world are you sitting cutting coupons? She goes, how do you think I stay a millionaire? And we both just busted out laughing. But I assumed that, they didn't worry about money. Come to find out, they worry about money all the time. And I mean, that taught me a lesson about assuming anything. So, but one thing that, kind of a big thing that we do here in the South, and I guess a lot of people do it, but you always hear about Southern hospitality. And trust me, if you walk into a Southern home, if you are not offered some iced tea and a meal within 10 minutes of you being there, even if the people don't have that much, they will offer you something. That's just Southern hospitality. It's a Navajo proverb, actually. Always assume your guest is tired, cold, and hungry, and then act accordingly. So there you go, guys. A is for assuming. And I'm going to assume that it's going to rain all day, but it's good fishing, so. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Hope you're excited for Season 2 of MntDewMania's Redneck Rants. I think I have a good list. My group that I put them toward certainly thought it was pretty decent this season. So we'll see how everything turns out. As always, I look forward to your comments. Please comment. Tell me what you think. I really, really enjoy the interaction in all the comments. If you have time, you can subscribe and like and all that other stuff. But my favorite thing is the comments and the sharing, so we can get more people interacting in the comment section. So thank you for your time. I'm going to do a little more fishing here in the rain. I might go over and see what that's all about. Till next time, guys, this is MntDewMania live from Vox Populi, Season 2 of Redneck Rants. I'm so out of here. Later, guys.